This right here is euphemistically referred to as the usher's closet, the deacon's closet, or the janitor's closet, depending on who's trying to access it. But in here, for us, is found candles to go up front. They're in these big boxes. And then there's lighters, or wicks to go in the candle lighters. And I'm going to show you that because one of them needs to be loaded this morning. These are fancy candle lighters that we use. And when you have this button on the side here that connects the wick attachment. So you have to take out the old wick and then get a new one. And you have to kind of work it into that slot. It's not a very good system. I could design a better one, frankly, but you get it in there so that it's folded over. Oh, that didn't work. Making a mess on the floor, too. But you get it in there so that it's folded over. And then you can pull down on this knob and it goes in. And then it comes out and goes in. Now, what I usually do is take a pair of scissors and cut this off. I'm not going to do it now. The thing is, when the kids take this up front, they want to be sure to have at least a ½ inch of wick sticking out. Otherwise, the flame will go out. That's the problem with that. And some of the little kids don't really catch on to that, but you know, you do the best you can and you follow them along, and always carry the lighter with you. When you light the candles, we have these things here. I'm sure you're all familiar with them. And you light them just before the kids go up. There's also matches here for that purpose. And in this drawer over here, there are some more supplies. And more importantly, at the moment, there is hidden under here a candle lighter. I hid it under there. And there's also some of these kind of lighters. Lighters tend to disappear around here. These small candles are used to go inside the big candles up front when they're out. But this is where they're stored. There's also name tags here, which one of our duties you'll see is to check the name tag. People has their name tags on. And if new people come in, you can use these to stick onto their shirt. And there's pens over there on the cabinet. One of the duties is to check for the prayer book in the narthex, and that's this right here. And what we do is open it up to the current day. Somebody else has set up for the day and all that, so all we have to do is open it up. As far as lighting the candles are concerned, we pick out, or we invite, some of the young kids in the church audience or church congregation to do that. Dawn Clausen will always be one if she's in the church. You will never get her to sit down when that needs to be done. But you'll have to pick somebody else. And you don't have to worry about Dawn. She knows how to light the candles and all that. But some of the little kids will need instruction, and like I say, you want to follow them along up front. Okay. Oh, you want to check for bulletins out here. Sometimes they're here and sometimes they're not. If they're not here, they're in the office. And there's one this size, the normal size. There's the large print size. And sometimes there's a special bulletin or sheet for the kids. There's none here now, but sometimes there are. One thing that seems kind of silly, but you have to check to be sure the collection plates are there. Sometimes they aren't. And then you have to go running around and see if you can find them. They're apt to be on one of the side tables or even in the office, I suppose. But there wants to be 4 of them. We don't normally have 4 ushers at a service unless it's a big one, but we still look for 4 plates. You check the candle wicks. Sometimes they get broken off and they're not standing proud from the top of the candle. When that happens, hopefully you have a jackknife in your pocket or something like that, a key, and you have to dig around in the wax and get a candle wick exposed, which almost means taking off this top. Hopefully you won't run into that.
Okay.
As part of the sound system, we have this portable microphone up front here, and it's got a switch on it for power up at the top. And you have to turn that to the power on, and there's a little green light that indicates it's on. It's got batteries in it, and if the light doesn't come on, then you have to go running around and see if you can find batteries. But
Generally in the office, in the blue box on the file cabinet is where you'll find spare batteries.
there you go. Okay.
While we're pointing out the sound system, I'll point out that there are 2 jacks on the front of the dais, and one is labeled stage right and one is labeled stage left. So as you're standing facing the congregation, stage right is to your right, stage left is to your left. So a microphone that's plugged into stage left should be used from the center of the dais towards the north, towards Browns Road, and a microphone that's plugged into stage right should be used from the center of the dais to the south parking lot side. And that's so that anybody who's tending to the audio up in the choir loft knows which microphone to adjust if it needs adjusting.
We have shutters on all the windows, and they can be opened and closed, the lower ones, by hand. The upper ones require this stick with the hook on the end of it, and hopefully it is always hanging there. Once in a while it's not, and then you just have to do your best. The way it works is you put this on that handle. You have to be a little careful because these can be kind of brittle, but you just pull it across like this. And similarly with the other side. In the summertime, a lot of people will want the upper blinds closed because of the sun shining in their eyes. And of course, some people will want them open. We've had both requests at the same time. So you more or less flip a coin and go for it. It says on the duties here, check for pew cards and kid papers and sharpen and replace the pencils. I mean, if you're here way early and you've got a lot of time on your hands, you're looking for something to do, you can do that. It's in here because somebody asked me one time to put it in. It's kind of difficult to do that on a Sunday morning unless you've come real early. The other thing it says here is pick up the old bulletins from the pews, and that's fairly easy to do, and you can do that just walking up and down. Name tags are another thing that we feature here. Over here in this rack are pre-printed name tags. And earlier we talked about these name tags that are in this drawer, and they're stick-ons. So people can just stick them under their shirt or dress. Let's see. Now, number 17 here is usher people to their seats. You would think that would be first, but actually all this other stuff comes ahead of that, and you will find that most people coming into the church are familiar with the church and will just walk right to their seats. I always try and make it, when I usher, I always try and make it a habit of ushering people to where they want to go anyway. I just think it's the proper thing to do, but then that's the way it used to be done. All right, we've already rung the bell. After the service, you close and lock these two doors with the hex key, like I showed you. Oh, no, wait a minute. Cancel that one.
Okay.
After the bell is rung and everybody is into the church, everybody that you think is coming, you then swing these doors closed. You have to be careful not to bang them. I always stay out here in the narthex a little bit longer, look out the window, both windows, and after a couple of minutes, if I don't see anybody walking up and coming in, then I'll go ahead and shut these doors. Conversely, at the end of the service, during the last hymn, you open the doors, and that's the end of the service. Then, to close things down, you turn off the sound system upstairs that we talked about earlier, and you lock these outside doors with the hex keys, which we have discussed. And surely there will be questions. I'm going to be in church almost every Sunday. There's always going to be a pastor here that is more or less familiar with things, and other people in the congregation that are just as familiar as I am. So don't be afraid to ask for help.